Making headlines tonight, price ceiling on dengue tests. Health Minister warns of stern action against private hospitals and laboratories that do not adhere to ministry instructions.
First at 9. This is Other Derana 24/7.
Also making headlines tonight, disappearance bill. Minister Mangala Samaravira says the bill only covers future activities and not actions of the past. Chairmanship of Sri Lanka Medical Council. GMOA warns of indefinite strike if government replaces Professor Carlo Fonseca. Gotabe Rajapaksa's political plan, former Defence Secretary says, will work as an official to a good politician. In international headlines tonight, Mosul battle. Iraqi Prime Minister announces victory over IS, says fighters leapt into river on facing defeat. Good evening. Making news in tonight's international headlines is Iraqi Prime Minister arriving in Mosul to declare victory over so-called Islamic State. Assuring you to bring more on that story, we move on to your news here at home. We begin with the latest on the dengue epidemic. Health Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne instructed officials to launch a probe on prices of lab tests at private hospitals and laboratories and to take stern action against those that violate the government price ceiling for full blood count and antigen tests. The Health Ministry earlier instructed private hospitals to charge 250 rupees for full blood count tests and 1,000 rupees for dengue antigen tests. The dengue epidemic has claimed the lives of 230 people within the past 6 months. 80,732 cases were recorded by the epidemiology unit during this period, and 18,186 of them were reported from the Colombo district. During the past 7 days, 3 deaths were reported from Badulla, out of which 2 were school children. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health, Nutrition and Indigenous Medicine had received complaints that the government-imposed price ceiling for blood tests were not offered to the public at certain private hospitals. Issuing a statement today, the ministry warned of stern action against private hospitals and laboratories that do not adhere to the price ceiling until the dengue epidemic eases. Minister of Finance and Mass Media Mangala Samaravira states that International Convention for Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance Bill will only cover future actions and it has no connection to incidents of the past. Issuing a statement, the former Foreign Minister also addressed recent claims that war heroes will be harmed through the legislation.
Minister of Finance and Mass Media Mangala Samaravira points out in the statement that although the bill on International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance was expected to be debated on the 5th of this month, it was postponed as the debate on Bribery Act was due on the same day. Minister Samaravira goes on to note that main purpose of the bill is to establish freedom of citizens without encountering forceful abductions, disappearances or inappropriate imprisonment. Referring to recent claims that such legislation will be harmful for security forces, Minister Mangala Samaravira said these statements imply that security forces are responsible for disappearances, abductions and killing during their regime. In this context, Samaravira cites as high time to wipe out such two-faced politicians.
Minister of Lands and Parliamentary Reforms Gayantha Karunatilaka says that the proposed constitution will prioritise the views of all political parties, all religious leaders, including chief prelates and the public. Convening a media briefing at the UNP headquarters, Minister Karunatilaka expressed his views regarding the matter.
මූලික කෙටුම්පතක් අපිවත් හරියට දැකලා නැහැ. විවස්ථාවක් කියන එක රටේ ජනතාවට කොලේ වහලා ගේන්න පුළුවන් එකක් නෙවෙයි. ඒ නිසා මේ විවස්ථාව ගේන්න හදන වෙලාවේ බොරු මත නැති දේවල් රටේ ජනතාවට ගෙනහිල්ලා වැරදි මත හදන්න තමයි විරුද්ධ පක්ෂයේ උත්සාහ කරන්නේ. දැන් බලන්න බුද්ධාගමට තියෙන තැන නැති වෙනවා කියලා කියන. නමුත් ඉතාමත්ම පැහැදිලිව රටේ ජනාධිපතිතුමත් අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමත් වගකිව යුතු බොහෝ දෙනෙක් ඒ පිළිබඳව පැහැදිලි ප්‍රකාශ කරලා තියෙනවා එවැනි කිසි දෙයක් සිදු නොවන බව.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථා මණ්ඩලය ස්ථාපිත කිරීම සඳහා වූ පාර්ලිමේන්තු යෝජනා සම්මතය. දැන් මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරා 2016 මාර්තු 9 වෙනිදා. මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ හිටපු 225ම ඒකමතිකව සම්මත කරා මේ යෝජනාවේ. මේ යෝජනාවේ තියෙනවා අන්තිම එක. මේ 23 වෙනි එක. සැකයක් ඇති නොවනු පිණිස ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාව පනත් කෙටුම් පතක් නොපැමිණි මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ද ඇතුළුව පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මුළු මන්ත්‍රී සංඛ්‍යාවෙන් 3/2ක විශේෂ බහුතර ඡන්දයකින් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේදී සම්මත කරනු ලැබ ඉක්බිතිව ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ 83 ව්‍යවස්ථාව ප්‍රකාරව ජනමත විචාරණයකදී ජනතාව විසින් අනුමත කරන්නේ නම් පමණක් නීතියක් වශයෙන් පැනවිය යුතු බවට මෙහිලා තවදුරටත් ප්‍රකාශ කරේ. දැන් එකඟ වෙලා ගිහිල්ලා එළිය ගිහිල්ලා වෙන දේවල් දොඩවනවා.
The Government Medical Officers Association warns of an unannounced indefinite island-wide strike if the position of chairman of Sri Lanka Medical Council is granted to someone other than incumbent chairman Professor Carlo Fonseca. Convening media, the GMOA alleged of a plan to appoint an individual in favour of Saitam to the protest or the post.
සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යතුමා වැඩ කර යුත්තේ මේ රටේ නීතියට අනුව. වෛද්‍ය ආඥා පනතේ පැහැදිලිව සඳහන් කරලා තියෙනවා වෛද්‍ය සභාවේ සභාපතිවරයා පත් කරන්නේ කොහොමද ඉවත් කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා. ඊට පිටින් යාමට කිසිදු බලයක් කිසිදු කෙනෙක් එතුමාට ලබා දීලා නැහැ. ඒ නිසා අපි පැහැදිලිව රජයට සඳහන් කරනවා වෙනයම් පුද්ගලයෙක්ගේ තනතුරට ගේන්න හැදුවොත් රජයේ වෛද්‍ය නිලධාරීන්ගේ සංඝය කිසිදු දැනුම් දීමකින් තොරව අඛණ්ඩ වැඩ වර්ජනයක් කරා යොමු වෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා.
මේ අලුතෙන් පත් කරන්න යන මහාචාර්යවරයා ආයුර්වේද නිෂ්පාදන සමාගමකට සම්බන්ධයි කියලාත් අපිට තොරතුරු ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. එතුමා වැදගත් විදියට ගෙදර ගිහිල්ලා ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි එතුමා ඉල්ලාස් වෙලා නැහැ කියන එක මතක තියාගන්න. අභාව ප්‍රාප්ත වෙලත් නැහැ. එතුමා ඉවත් කළ යුතුයි කියලා වෛද්‍ය සභාවේ යෝජනාවක් සම්මත වෙලත් නැහැ. ඒ නිසා තාමත් සභාපති එතුමාමයි සභාපති තනතුරේ කාලෝ ෆොන්සේකා මහතා තවමත් සිටියේදී වෙනත් අයෙකු පත් කිරීම නීති විරෝධී. ඒක කවුරු හරි අභියෝගයට ලක් කරනවා නම් අපි ඒ වෙනුවෙන් අධිකරණයට යෑමට සූදානම්.
Meanwhile, speaking at a religious occasion in Valigama, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa pointed out that the Rajapaksas are being accused whenever the government fails in its efforts to develop the country.
සංවර්ධනය කවදාකවත් අත්හිටවන්න නරකයි ආම්. රටේ සංවර්ධනය අත්හිටුව නිසා තමයි හැම දෙයකම ප්‍රමාදයක් ඇති වුනේ. මිනිසුන්ගේ ආර්ථිකය කඩා හැලුනේ. ඉතින් කඩා හැලිච්ච ආර්ථිකය නැවත ගොඩනගන එක ටිකක් අමාරුයි. ඉතින් අද ආණ්ඩුවට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ඒක. හැබැයි ඉතින් බැරි දේවල් වෙනකොට එහෙම බැරි වෙනකොට අපිට චෝදනා කරනවා. පහුගිය අවුරුදු දෙකමාර අපේ පරම්පරාවටම නඩු දැම්මා. හිරෙත් හිටියා. මල්ලි හිටියා, පුතු දෙන්නා හිටියා. UMP කාර්යෝගෙත් අපි කුටි කනවා. දැන් මේ ආණ්ඩුව කරගෙන යන ශ්‍රී ලංකා කාර්යෝගෙත් අපි කුටි කනවා.
Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that he would not engage in politics but will serve as an official for a good politician elected by the people. He made these remarks speaking to media after participating at a religious ceremony at Kotalavalapura Samadhi Buddhist Centre in Ratmalana this morning.
නෑ ඉතින් දැන් මේ අමතුමා කියලා තිබුණානේ එයා එහෙම කිව්වේ නෑ වෙන කෙනෙක් කියපු එකක් කිව්වේ කියලා. ඔබතුමාගේ ඉදිරි දේශපාලන කටයුතු පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න අපිට කොහොමද වැඩ කරන්නේ? දේශපාලන කරන්නේ මම දේශපාලනය කරන්නේ. දේශපාලනය කළා බලයට එන කෙනෙකුට හොඳ එක්කෙනෙක් ආවොත් එයාට නිලධාරියෙක් වශයෙන් වැඩ කරනවා. හොඳ එක්කෙනෙක් තෝරගන්න තියෙන්නේ ජනතාවට.
TV Derana was appreciated with 2 awards at the Mashable World Social Media Day Awards 2017 in Colombo this evening. TV Derana won the most popular TV channel on social media award at the Mashable Social Media Day hosted by Etisalat Lanka in Colombo. Chatura Alvis of Ada Derana won the most popular journalist on social media award, and the award was received by a representative of TV Derana.
Another one over here. From Chatura Alvis, Awanta article, award for the most popular journalist on social media goes out to Chatura Alvis. Shatura Alvis for the most popular journalist on social media.
Tragedy brings hope and strength in most unexpected ways. The tsunami disaster in 2004 was no different, as a small team of doctors known as the Australia-Sri Lanka Medical Aid Team came together to provide medical provisions to the affected. What started off as a small group has now turned into a community to bring around change in rural areas across Sri Lanka.
On 26 December 2004, one of Sri Lanka's worst human disasters claimed over 45,000 lives and left scores missing. Having watched the disaster unfold 6,810 kilometers away, Dr. Quintus de Silva made it his mission to provide immediate medical assistance together with a group of Australian doctors just 2 days later. This was the beginning of the 11-year journey of the Australia-Sri Lanka Medical Aid Team, fondly known as AUSLAMAT. The association has transported more than $8 million worth of equipment to Sri Lanka and provided medication to thousands of underprivileged people, making its mission to take a proactive approach in terms of providing assistance despite challenges.
There has been an emphasis on cardiology most of the time, but we have expanded to involve very poor villages, which we visit. And problem that we have faced since the time of the tsunami is bringing equipment into Sri Lanka, and we are often hassled by customs. If it could be made easier for us as we bring equipment and medications, we would never bring things that are out of date.
Key projects undertaken by AUSLAMAT was the construction of the Trauma and Emergency Centre at Karapitiya Hospital in Galle. The team recently held a clinic for over 100 patients at Hemachandra Mahavidyalaya in Valigama recently. AUSLAMAT also conducts hospital lectures, ward rounds and clinics in remote areas and orphanages several times a year.
I think we look back on our work with pride. There's always so much more to do, and part of our issue is we can tend to spread ourselves too thin. But I think we really need support from the local community as well as the local government to understand that there are a lot of very poor people out there who need our support and their support. And really what will turn this country around is better economic conditions. When the government provides them more widely or more cheaply, that will bring about a huge improvement in the welfare of all people in Sri Lanka.
Competent authority of Lanka Mineral Sands, Maitri Gunaratne, claims that the Ministry of Industry and Commerce is engaged in an effort to portray the Mineral Sands Corporation as a loss-making entity. Addressing a gathering at the corporation premises, he alleged that the ministry had instructed him to cancel a recent highly profitable order for ilmenite sands.
මේ ආයතන විනාශ කරන්න ඉඩ තියන්න බෑ. මට මේකෙන් හිටියට එළියට දැම්මයි කියලා මම බඩගින්න ඉන්නෙත් නෑ. මාස 4ක් ඇතුළත බිලියනයක් අපි හම්බ කරා. අවුරුදු ගාණක් මේ ආයතනේ අමාරුවෙන් තමයි ඉස්සරහට ගියේ. මෙච්චර සල්ලි හම්බ කරන්න පුළුවන් ආයතනේ මේ මොකද්ද මේගොල්ලෝ කරේ? මේක ඈවර කරන තත්ත්වයට ගෙනාවේ කවුද? දැන් මේක ලාභෙට දුවනකොට අමාත්‍යතුමාව පැහැදිලිවම නොම කරලා පෙන්වන්න හදනවා මේක අපි වැරදිට කරගෙන යනවා කියලා. අභියෝගයක් කරනවා. ඕනම කෙනෙක් ගෙනල්ලා දාලා බලන්න බිලියන එකක් අතේ තියෙනවා. ඊළඟ ඉලක්කයට යන්න බිලියන 2 ඉලක්කය. ඒ බිලියන 2 ඉලක්කයට ගියාම මම මේකේ ඉන්න සේවක මහතුරු සහ යූනියන් වල මහතුරුන්ට කියනවා ඒ බිලියන 2 ඔබතුමාලා ආරක්ෂා කරන්න. ඒක ආරක්ෂා කරන තාක් මේ ආයතනේ පෞද්ගලිකරණය කරන්න අවශ්‍යතාවයක් ඇති වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
In your international business news, Government of Japan agreed, or rather in local news, Government of Japan agreed to provide 2 concessional loans amounting to 60 billion rupees for the implementation of the Rural Infrastructure Development and Water Supply Projects and Kaluganga Water Supply Expansion Project. The funds will be disbursed through Japan International Cooperation Agency with the aim of improving living standards of the people through developing basic infrastructure in emerging regions and to provide safe water and increase water supply in the southern area of Western Province by expanding the Kaluganga water supply system. On to Colombo equities. During the week, all share price index declined by 0.1%, while the S&P SL20 index declined by 0.6%, with weekly turnover increasing 28% week on week. For a detailed picture of how the Colombo equities will perform in the new week, here's Demantha Matthew from First Capital Holdings with our weekly forecast.
With the retail segment of the market getting activated, we expect local participation in the equity market to improve in the week ahead. Foreign interest is likely to continue in the coming weeks as well, but mostly concentrated on the blue chip counters. We remain positive on the overall market and expect it to be on an uptrend with buying interest in the overall market. With retail segment getting activated, we believe buying interest in the mid-cap counters to improve, which was stagnant for a long period of time.
India is considering selling state-owned carrier Air India in parts as it reviews options to divest the loss-making flagship airline. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's cabinet gave consent last month for the government to try to sell the airline after successive governments spent billions of dollars to sustain the carrier. Government officials say Modi has set a deadline of early next year to get the sale process underway. Air India is saddled with a debt burden of $8.5 billion and its share in the booming domestic market has slumped to 13% as private carriers such as Jet Airways have grown. And on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Hamburg, the European Union and Canada say they have agreed to start a free trade agreement on the 21st of September. The comprehensive economic and trade agreement has been championed by both sides as a landmark deal for open markets, opposing a protectionist trend. The agreement will enter definitely into force once all 28 EU member states and parliaments ratify it. Issues over pharmaceuticals and the cheese industry had delayed the agreement, which would otherwise have been provisionally implemented this month. In sports, Sri Lankan ODI skipper Angelo Matthews cites the team has a huge shortcoming as there were a lack of inconsistency in performances in their fielding. He also said that there is a tremendous pressure on him as a captain for scoring 300 and still losing.
Bowling once again was extremely disappointed. After scoring 300, how many times can you lose a game? First 10 overs, we gave away a lot of runs. Yeah, bowling was disappointing. We actually didn't know that the rain might come in, but the wicket was extremely dry. So we all thought that it's going to turn more and more once the day goes on. So that's why we saw in the last game also that the ball started turning after the first 20 overs in the second half especially. Yeah, unfortunate. Again we got the runs. The batters are doing a really good job. The bowlers were not up the mark again.
In women's cricket, India suffered their first defeat of the ICC Women's World Cup 2017 after South Africa beat them by 15 runs in Leicester. The star performance for South Africa was captain Dane van Niekerk, who made a valuable all-round performance, helping the team bundle out the Indians for 158 in 46 overs.
Batting first, South Africa scored a competitive 273 for the loss of 9 wickets. Besides skipper Van Niekerk's half-century, opener Lizelle Leetoo made a significant contribution with a stunning 65 ball 92.
Need 200.
India chasing 273 lacked a strong opening partnership, showing worrying signs for the team. However, Deepti Sharma was the highest contributor for India with her 111 balls 60, while Julian Goswami scored 43 in 79 balls. Dane Van Nicker claimed 4 wickets for 22 as South Africa thrashed India by 115 runs in their Women's World Cup match at Grace Road.
Former champions Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic were in impressive form as they reached the 4th round at Wimbledon in straight sets. Federer made it into the 4th round with a 7-6, 6-4, 6-4 win over Germany's Michka Zverev, while Djokovic defeated Latvia's Ernest Gulbis 6-4, 6-1, 7-6.
7-time champion Roger Federer made it into the 4th round of Wimbledon for the 15th time with a 7-6, 6-4, 6-4 win over Germany's Misha Zverev on centre court. Misha Zverev put in a fine performance but could not overtake, and the Swiss triumphed in straight sets. Federer will meet Grigor Dimitrov for a place in the top 8. 3-time Wimbledon champion Novak Djokovic roared his way into the 4th round with a 6-4, 6-1, 7-6 over Latvian Ernest Gulbis on centre court yesterday. Djokovic will now face France's Adrian Mannarino, who was a surprise winner earlier yesterday against compatriot Gael Monfils.
Iraq's Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi announced victory over so-called Islamic State in the city of Mosul today. The announcement came after state media reported that Iraqi troops had reached the Tigris riverside and raised the Iraqi flag there. About 100 IS fighters had earlier been reported to be trapped in a section of the old city along the Tigris River, many of whom threw themselves into the river as they faced imminent defeat. The fall of Mosul would be the biggest defeat yet for IS 3 years after it seized the city in a lightning offensive. With air support by the US-led coalition, Iraqi forces launched the battle for Mosul last October. The nearly 9-month battle for Mosul has ruined parts of the city, killed thousands of civilians, and displaced nearly 1 million people. Leaders from the world's leading economies stood apart from US President Donald Trump on climate policy at yesterday's G20 summit in a rare admission of disagreement. Releasing a joint statement, the leaders of 18 nations and the European Union recognized Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement as well as his America First views on trade.
A joint summit statement from G20 leaders was officially released yesterday after hours of deliberation, acknowledging Trump's withdrawal from the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement as well as reiterating the irreversibility of the agreement. US President Donald Trump, however, declared the G20 summit a wonderful success. Meanwhile, on the sidelines of the summit, Trump met with Chinese President Xi Jinping, where Trump declared he appreciated actions which China had taken on North Korea.
As far as North Korea is concerned, I know that we'll have success. It may take longer than I'd like, may take longer than you'd like, but there will be success in the end, one way or the other.
Here's a look at some other stories making news from across the world in brief.
A march by supporters of the white supremacist Ku Klux Klan group in the US state of Virginia has been met by hundreds of rival demonstrators. While the KKK's demonstration had already been authorized, police declared the counter-protests unlawful and arrested several people. Venezuela's jailed opposition leader Leopoldo Lopez was granted house arrest yesterday following pressure from the opposition as well as international powers. Lopez is serving a sentence of nearly 14 years for allegedly inciting violence during anti-government protests in 2014. In a message released by his party, Lopez urged opposition supporters to continue street protests against President Nicolas Maduro. A state of emergency has been declared by the Canadian province of British Columbia as it battles over 180 wildfires. The disaster has forced an estimated 7,000 people out of their homes.
And we take a look at how the weather will be for the next 24 hours. So here's a look at the city-by-city forecast in Sri Lanka. That's all from your primetime news at 9, but before we go, we'd like to take you to the German city of Hamburg, where a traditional Chinese lantern show is brightening up the night, showcasing distinctive elements of traditional Chinese culture. The show features 23 sets of lanterns depicting natural beauty. Have a pleasant evening, stay safe, good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.